What's up, Ravens fans? It's me, Mr. Voiceman, back again. Here is, like I promised you, the very first part of the series of Ravens versus Steelers Week 1 matchup. I know I'm talking slowly, but hey, why don't I just go ahead and do it like a very famous sportscaster from the 70s and 80s? This is how it goes, shall. We bring to you today the biggest juggernaut of the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers, coached by Mike Tomlin, against those tenacious Baltimore Ravens, headed by John Harbaugh. See, I can do them all. Anyway, let's get down to brass tacks, boys and girls. This is such a big matchup, I have to break this down into quite a few videos for you guys to just kind of grasp the whole entire game. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead in this video and show you the Ravens offense versus the Steelers defense, which any way you slice it's going to be one tough matchup. But here are some points that you should really keep an eye out, as well as more than anything else, you should really just keep an eye for, because you know, obviously you're going to watch the running backs and the wide receivers, but if you don't know the ins and outs of the linemen as well, who knows what's going to happen. So, as we know, this offensive line has been a work in progress. Every day of the preseason, there was a new tackle, there was a new center, there was a new guard. You never knew who was going to be the starting guy, but we finally have an offensive front with an identity. Everyone's going crazy about the newest addition to the Ravens line, and that's Andre Gurode, the five-time Pro Bowl center from the Dallas Cowboys, who was cut recently. And it's not because of injury issues, boys and girls. It's because he couldn't agree to a contract renegotiation to help them get back under the cap out in Dallas. Honestly, their trash is our treasure because this guy's the real deal. Now, what about Matt Burke? Everybody else seems to think that Gurode's going to come in and start right away week 1. This guy right here, not so much. There's a big thing about a center and his quarterback, and that is timing and counts. If Flacco has some very different nuances from hard counts that Tony Romo did out in Dallas, Gurode's going to be lost and look for a lot of possible false start or delay of game penalties until they get this right. So in my honest opinion, if Matt Burke's knee is going to hold up, he's going to be out there week 1. If not, I hold myself accountable, and I didn't do enough research, but I'm going with a gut on this one. Gurode will be the starter at some point, but given how important this game is to start off our season, I can't see them taking a risk and putting an inexperienced play caller right in the middle of things. On the other hand, however, Bryant McKinnie has had almost 2.5 weeks of full practice. Supposedly he's staying after practice and running with all of his University of Miami. Yes, that's right, the U. He's running with all of them after practice. He's playing tennis for extra cardio. The guy is remotivated again. I wouldn't be motivated if I was in Minnesota. I mean, hell, all I'd probably be doing is drinking maple syrup and hoping I have some form of a fun hockey fight to watch. It's not fun out there, but he's in Baltimore. He's in with people who can vouch for him, and Matt Burke's one of those guys. He played with him in Minnesota for about 6 years before he signed here. So given that, McKinney looks to have rediscovered his passion for football again. That's going to be really important if he's protecting Flacco's blind side, because you know how Woodley and Harrison love to come off the edge and they give us fits. Especially with Polamalu being that extra little blitzer at the very last second. Orr didn't do a good job of picking those blitzes up, as well as Flacco did neither. But now that we have an even bigger, stronger man on that side of the ball, I don't think that's going to be as big a problem as we do. Ben Grubbs was a Pro Bowl alternate for the past 2 seasons. I look for him to be able to help McKinney transition to playing in this offense. And that blind side of Joe, it's going to be covered this year. You also throw into account that Ricky Williams is one hell of a pass blocker. I saw some plays in the preseason, just blew my mind. He was so crazy. And Vonta Leach as well. Not only is he a great blocker for Ray Rice to run behind, he's a hell of a guy when he drops back in pass protection. And if he's going to be able to have to help Flacco make those 7-step drops, which won't be too many, it should be a good recipe here. But given the defensive front and success of the Steelers against the inexperience and the non-cohesiveness of the Ravens' offensive line, I have to give the edge to the Steelers on this one. Now our offensive line will get better and more tightly knit as the season progresses, but week 1, I really think it's a little too much to ask of this group right out of the gate. Now, I have to go to the wide receivers first because you already know what the running back situation is going to be. This is where the Ravens have got to be able to take care of Flacco because our wide receiving core will decimate this secondary. Ike Taylor, Randall Gay, and the rest of them, I don't even know them. That's how unimportant they are. Because honestly, that is the only way you can beat the Steelers if you spread them out 4, possibly 5 wideouts at one time. That is the only way to get to these guys. So you might be thinking, oh, well, if Lee Evans or Anquan Boldin have a good name. No, it's not going to happen this way. Plain and simple, you're going to end up with Lee Evans and be it Laquan Williams, my pick to make the roster, by the way, or Tandon Doss on the outside, or even Torrey Smith. Those are going to be your 2 outside gunners. They stretch the field, they know how to run, and they know how to get separation. They'll be your outside guys. Tandon Doss and Anquan Boldin are going to work your slot receiver positions. They'll be working the intermediate to short routes and trying to get separation off bad matchups with linebackers and safeties. This is the key to the Ravens' success right here. If that offensive front can keep Flacco on his feet for enough time in the 3- and 5-step drop category, he should be able to find Boldin and Doss over the middle, which will set up play action later off the run game to find Evans and Smith or Evans and Williams deep over Ike Taylor and Randall Gay. They did not spend any money in Pittsburgh on that secondary, and I think that's really going to show evident this year. Polamalu's a year older. Ike Taylor's coming off thumb surgery. This is not that good of a unit. Polamalu knows how to blitz, but he doesn't know how to ball hawk like our secondary does, but we'll get to that later. Honestly, this is the one area of the offensive field where I give the Ravens the production push over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Ravens 1, Pittsburgh 1 as we go into the running game. I hate to say it, but this one's actually going to be a push. The offensive line is hellaciously stacked when it comes to run blocking. You add in Vontae Leach and an elusive, short-statured running back like Ray Rice, this is going to give most defense fits. But most defenses aren't the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're not ran by Dick LeBeau. He knows how to get his front 7 to the ball. It doesn't matter where it is on this field. These guys are quick, they're hungry, they're powerful, and they know where it's coming from. I don't know how. It's an act of God. Maybe. I'm not sure. But this is one of the most hellacious matchups you will ever see. And it's a push either way. We never seem to get much penetration on the ground at the point of attack, and they never seem to be able to just let up, but at the same time just give enough. So while we might end up with, at most, 60 yards rushing, compared to a Pittsburgh Steelers defensive stand, that's actually a good day for them. So honestly, it's a push either way you look at it. You hope you can use the run to keep them honest late in the game, because hopefully we have the lead, and you have to be able to run that clock. And you know they're going to be looking to try and make Flacco beat him with throwing the ball. You can't do that in the fourth quarter with a couple minutes left, because that one key interception is all it takes in these games to turn the tide and put the momentum back in somebody else's favor. So, as we've covered, offensive front versus Pittsburgh's defensive 7, I got to go with Pittsburgh on this one. Offensive wide receivers versus the secondary of Pittsburgh, I got to go with the Ravens receiving core on this one. You might think I'm stupid because of the inexperience, but I'm sorry. There's too much speed and there's too much fresh legs on this receiving core for the Steelers' aged and not talented secondary to be able to keep up. And now, of course, the running game for the Ravens versus the defense of the Steelers, it's never a good one there. But now that there's new, stronger, better parts in front of the running game, I have to go with a push on this one. Both teams are equally matched in this regard. So next video you guys are going to see, it'll be the Steelers defense, or Steelers offense, I should say, versus the Ravens defense. And we'll let you know how that one goes next time. But until then, Mr. Voiceman saying, sleep tight, everybody in YouTube land. I'll be back again soon.